Time is an interesting thing to think about. It's actually very arbitrary. We talk about it very easily and we're very familiar with it. But if you somehow want to explain it and what it is, it's quite elusive. It's very difficult to define it. We have now traveled around the sun 20 times, and it's perhaps a good time to just take a moment to reflect on what has been and to dream about what the future holds. When you work with high temperature processes, there's only so much that you can directly see and measure. It means that you have to use your imagination and creativity. So there's a significant portion of art involved in what we do. But you cannot only use your imagination, you also have to really be the master of your craft.
Pyrometallurgy is extremely challenging as a thing to study and a thing to do engineering with. Our furnaces are very, very dangerous, they're hazardous, they're hard to get close to, they're very, very difficult to measure anything on, and the processes that happen inside them are extremely complex.
So the pyrometallurgical industry in many respects is one of the most ancient of the technologies that we still have around us today.
Well, Mente started on the back of relationships that had formed for several years before that, in 2001. Tronox was on the verge of starting up their new smelter in Mpangeni, and they needed to have the advanced process control system for the furnaces completed, and I had been working on it for several years before that.
Mente and Johan Zietsman I met for the first time during one of our small furnace campaigns. Johan really from the start performed an integral part in starting up these industrial-sized furnaces.
The first person I appointed was Johan Zietsman as the lead smelting technologist on the East Core Heavy Minerals project, which today is the Tronox KZN Sands project in Mpangeni.
At that stage, Johan started to develop a thermal model for them to guide the operators in bringing the furnace online after a downtime event when obviously the furnace was now cold and you have to heat it up again. I want to say that that model is still the guideline for that operation.
So I've known Johan probably for, I don't know, going on 15 years, I would say. I was actually part of the panel that refereed his PhD thesis, and he already struck me at that point as somebody who was looking at the world of pyrometallurgy in a very different way.
The next marker in time for me was in 2013 when we decided to move from predominantly commercial software to open source software, which enabled us to do things at a different pace. And it also made us part of different communities of people sharing ideas, and relationships, again, was a big part of that.
Mente, through Johan's leadership, combines this unique capability of process modeling, mathematical modeling, fundamental knowledge, and a lot of practical on-site experience in the smelting industry.
Process modeling. In other words, we don't try to figure out at a single point in a process what could be the reactions and what could be the possible products. We really try to establish methods by which we can interlink, let's say, local equilibria within a process.
And this is really a very new and cutting-edge development that Mente is busy with.
In the end, we can really come up with complete descriptions of processes. So I think that is really the direction, and I'm absolutely convinced that Johan is one of the people who are really pushing this approach now.
And in that respect, I also see it as being pioneering in the industry in trying to tie together things that are actually very complex and yet very essential to make a success of one's operation of any smelting facility.
And thereby save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in time and expenditure to say, let's first calculate, and then we may not need to do expensive experiments, etc. And that places Mente in a unique position in our industry.
They are out there in the real world taking these tools that are often perceived as very theoretical, abstract, academic tools, and they're applying it to real problems in industry and solving real problems.
At the moment, we've got several very strong leaders in the team, people who are well established and well known, each in their own fields.
The expertise that they're building and that resides in their team in modeling, in thermochemical modeling, very few countries have that level of expertise.
I think Mente is probably one of the best organizations in the world at what they do. Somebody like Johan, for example, knows the fundamentals of the processes extremely well. He also knows how to implement it and get an answer to a client very quickly and very effectively, which is a rare talent in our industry.
Internationally, Mente is one of the few very unique consultancies with that ability and with a drive to make the dream a reality of complete and comprehensive understanding of pyrometallurgical processes.
Johan has put a lot of effort into making computational thermodynamics a tool for support of the industry.
In terms of his professional opinion in detailed investigations is amazing. I really do think that they compare as one of the top engineering houses in the world.
To have a strong team, we need a strong foundation of values, of unity, of discipline and order and effectiveness, but also different people having different perspectives. That makes for a strong team. The science and the mathematics, they are all very powerful tools, but they are only powerful if you've really mastered them, which takes significant personal investment from each of the team members.
We have a kind of torch flaming or burning, and we have to pass it on.
With powerful individuals in the team, inevitably your vision changes. Different things become possible.
The fact that we have so much computer power becoming available continuously is really opening up very exciting new avenues of both research and application in these very, very complex fields like pyrometallurgy. We're going to be able to solve more and more complex problems like the ones we encounter all the time in pyrometallurgy. At the moment, we can solve a few pieces of the puzzle. What we dream about is being able to put all those pieces together into a virtual furnace inside a box and be able to solve people's problems there without ever having to build one in real life.
I think after 20 years looking back, the first emotion that comes up is gratitude. Gratitude for the clients we have, the privilege of having built up the team that we currently have, the role that we can possibly play with our clients. It gives me quite a bit of hope for South Africa, first of all, so that we can make more of the mineral resources that we have, so that South Africa as a country and its people can create more wealth from it, so that we can pay the bills to educate our people and build a stronger country.
We are building towards having a long-term and more sustainable industry that can drive South Africa forward. Because without the value add, without the smelters, without the pyrometallurgical industry, we cannot really make much sense of our ores, because that used to be the biggest driver in South Africa, and we need to bring it back.
We are working to save that industry and save those jobs and save all of that wonderful technology that's available, that's been developed in this country, and use it for the betterment of its people. I think that's something that we look for.
Each one of the players in this ecosystem need to work together to make this dream a reality.
Working together as a team, we can bring the glory back. And I'm happy to say that as Mente and as pyrometallurgy team, we are very much dedicated to building that relationship and taking it to the next step.
The responsibility that we have is to make a major, significant contribution to our industry. With our clients, we can never do this alone. And in our industry, the very nature of the work we do is a collaboration between multiple parties. I'm excited about the next 5 and the next 10 and the next 20 years because I know that relationships will grow. We will be able to invest in people on our client sides, able to implement valuable technology and supporting them to be really successful and to make the most of the wonderful mineral resources that we have in South Africa for the benefit of our clients, but also for the benefit of the people of South Africa.